Final Twist, and welcome back to Raw Recap and Review. This is the April 13th, 2026 episode from Sacramento, California, and this is part 2. So if you ain't seen part 1, man, just click up there. I ain't gonna be mean to you today. Just click up there, get into that. But if you have seen part 1, welcome back, man. You already know that we just had the LA Knight and the Usos beat the MFTs, but now we're getting on to our next segment, and we have Gunther. He's doing a little promo. He gets down to the ring. He farming with the people, but he ain't get to say no word because Seth freaking Rollins instantly runs out, takedown, boom, 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 punching that man. That means Gunther retreats, and Seth like, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. You done whooped me 2 weeks in a row, and I finally got my receipt, man. And he says, in 6 nights, I'm finna finish the job. But he says, you say it's personal, and I don't know if it's personal because you up there kissing Heyman's ass, but if you are a man, come into the ring and say it to my face. Gunther get in the ring. He headbutting that man, talking to Mike. He says, you know what, know why it's personal with me? Because you've been pissing me off, acting like you're the best in the ring when everybody knows it's Gunther. He says, when I won the belt, when I was champ, instead of trying to fight me, you was up there trying to see who can be the best useful idiot for Paul Heyman. And he says, at WrestleMania, I'm going to prove that you're not able to lace my boots. And that proceeds to get them fighting again. Big brawl again. Gunther get the upper hand, try to land the powerbomb. Boom, boom, boom. Seth get down, hit that man with the knee. Ripcord. Get into the outside. Gunther's near the steel steps. Seth tries to hit the stump, but Gunther get out the way. He jump over the barricade. He retreat again. Seth get back into the ring. Start getting right with the people. Then we get a backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Dominic Mysterio, and he's up there complaining how Rey Mysterio is in the ladder match and how that he has to fight the demon. He says, I signed a contract to fight Finn Balor. Why am I fighting the demon? And that lends to Pearce saying, is all you do is complain, bro. He says, your dad, Rey, is a Hall of Famer, is a legend, and has deserved a spot in this match. And he says, you deserve to get whooped for everything you've been doing back and forth throughout the years in here. So he deserves to fight against the demon. Then we get our match between Io Sky and Kairi Sane. We start the match off with Kairi Sane with all this energy out of nowhere. Big tries to land a big clothesline on Io but misses. But then she ends up being in a big tackle on the Io, hitting multiple punches down. Io ends up reversing her position, then starts getting multiple punches of her own, but then Kairi reverses that and then starts dropping down, both back and forth. Io's head on the ground. Then Kairi then Irish whipping Io into the corner. She hits her with a big stomach punch right there. Then hits her with a running basement elbow down on the Io. Then she goes into the top rope, hits her with a big elbow drop while she's standing. That leads to her going for the pin. 1, 2, kick out from Io, but Kairi still on the attack. Hits a big axe kick on Io while she's down on the ground. Then she hits her with a big kick to the stomach and then drops her down for a snapmare into a chokehold. That leads to Io getting back up though. That leads to Kairi hitting her with an Irish whip. And that leads to Io hitting a little takedown. But Kairi rolls through that. Says her, come on. And that leads to Kairi then hitting the Hurricanrana onto Io. But Io does a flip out of that. And then she ends up hitting the ropes, sweeping down to Kairi's legs, and then hitting her with a drop kick. Now Kairi's on the outside after the drop kick. That leads to Io on the apron, trying to land the moonsault, but Kairi catches her leg, pulls her right down into the apron, and that leads to her trying to throw her into the barricade, but Io stops it, and then hits her with a super kick, and then goes on top of the barricade, and then does a moonsault on the Kairi Sane, and that's how we get to our commercial break. We get back from the commercial break with Io Sky hitting multiple Shote uppies on the Kairi Sane, but at least the Kairi then Irish whipping Io to the corner, but Io jumps through the corner, goes to the top rope, then hits the missile drop kick on the Kairi Sane. Then she has to got an aura farm for the people. She's getting the crowd hype, lands the bullet train onto Kairi, which is running knees into a city opponent at the corner. And at least they're trying to get over the moonsault. She goes to the top rope, but they get being stopped by Kairi. But then that leads to Io elbowing Kairi down, but she drops down while that happens. And then that leads to Asuka getting to the apron, grabbing Io's head and then slamming it into the ring post. And at least the Rhea Ripley popping out to protect Io. She get down, headbutt to Asuka. Then try to hit her with the riptide, but Jade Cargill ain't having it. She come out of there, attack Rhea, stop that. That leads to Io Sky in the ring seeing it. She goes on to his suicide dive onto Jade Cargill, but then she starts arguing with Asuka. That leads to Kairi Sane grabbing Io's hair, pulls her up there, tries to hit her with a spinning back fist, but she dodges out the way and she ends up knocking down Kairi. That leads to her going to the top rope, and Kairi finds a way to distract the ref. That leads to Asuka. Asuka stopping Io Sky doing the over the moonsault, pushing her down. That leads to Kairi Sane rolling up. That leads to Kairi Sane rolling up Io Sky. 1, 2, 3. Kairi Sane gets the win. Overall, I give that match a 3-star match. Io Sky's been doing bad, man. It looked like she ain't got no match at WrestleMania. She keep losing. Everything going bad for her right now, man. I hope Io get it right, man. Then we get on to the contract signing of Oba Femi. Adam Pearce, Triple H go back to the ring. They call out for Oba. Oba pop out. He signed the contract. Aura Farm for the people. Hit his logo. Heyman, that leads to Paul Heyman popping out. Heyman says that he's never seen someone come across as a superstar so fast to the crowd, and that he says he's not going to get any further from the stage because he knows that Oba is a violent person. He says that he's the most violent person to come here since Brock Lesnar, and that he's the fastest rising star since Brock Lesnar, and that he's the most athletic, the most dangerous, the most woo since Brock Lesnar. And that leads to who, the chants by the crowd. He said, "You guys are really starting to piss me off." And he says, but everything that Oba built is going to crash down at WrestleMania because he's going to get conquered by Brock Lesnar. But he says it's no shame in losing because, it's the real main event of WrestleMania, and that, when you lose everything, I'm going to help rebuild your career, man. My door's open anytime. But that leads to Oba saying, it's taking everything in me to not beat your ass. And he says that, the scars will heal of me whooping you, but the emotional wounds of Brock Lesnar losing at WrestleMania is far way better than me doing that to you. And he says, he don't need Paul Heyman help. That door ain't never gonna get open. His door is open to WrestleMania. And he says, it's just personal. It's not business. But it's finally time to put an end to the beast. And he says that, he's been a lot of things for Brock for these 25 years, and he's been a really great advocate, manager, and mouthpiece. But he says you never been an honest mouthpiece. Because if you were an honest mouthpiece, you would say, "My name is Paul Heyman, and my client Brock Lesnar is scared of Oba Femi." At least the Oba saying he will slay the beast because he's the one. He knows it. Paul know it. Brock know it. Everybody know it. That he's the one to slay the beast. Then that leads on to the last match of the night. It's not the main event because the main event is talking. We get a little preview of what's going to be happening with the IC title picture. We got Javon Evans teaming up with Dragon Lee versus Rusev and JD McDonough. JD instantly not playing no games. Big punch on the Dragon Lee on the corner. Ended up knocking Javon Evans off the corner too. Then he ended up big chops to Lee. But Lee said, flip that around. Let me get a chop in. That leads to JD going, stop that. Then he grabs him, slams him to another corner, and then hit him with kicks, knocks him down to the ground. That leads to him hitting pulling him over off the corner, and then hitting the clothesline, make that boy flip. I said, ooh. That leads to then JD again punching Javon, knocks him off the apron again. Then he picks up Dragon Lee, hits him with a big suplex, and then that goes for a pin right there. But Dragon Lee kicks out of it. That leads to him then grabbing Lee, going over to Rusev, tags in Rusev. Rusev hits a nasty gut wrench flip over. Then pick him up, hit him with a suplex. Then he hit the rope, hit that man with an elbow drop. Now Lee's writhing in pain. Lee sit up though. Rusev, big leg kick to the back. Then he ends up tagging JD back in. JD get into the ring, hit that man with a nasty back suplex. That leads to him stopping him, trying to tag with Javon, pulling him over. Then goes over to Rusev again, tags in Rusev. That leads to Rusev getting in the ring, kicking him in the stomach. That leads to Dragon Lee trying to fight back though. He's fighting back. But Rusev hits him with a big knee to the stomach and then tries to hit him with a power bomb. But Rana out of that. You know what that means. Hot tag. Javon getting into the ring. He jumped over Rusev trying to attack him. He hit that man JD with a big punch. Knocked that man down. Then out of nowhere, he hit the rope. Big running knee onto Rusev. Then that leads him to go a suicide dive right onto JD on the outside. Then he gets back onto the apron. Jumps off the springboard. Big elbow onto Rusev. Which leads to him then holding the rope. And at least JD running back into the ring. He tries to hit Javon, but Javon backflips, counter out of that, which leads to Javon gets in the top rope, but he gets pulled down by Rusev. Rusev hits him with a big punch, and then that leads to JD on the outside pulling down Dragon Lee off the apron, which leads to him getting to the middle rope and then hitting the moonsault on the Dragon Lee. But Javon ain't letting that happen. He instantly on the outside. Big punch to JD on the outside. Then Javon travels on to the other side of the ring. Tries to do a jumping dive on the Rusev. But Rusev catches him and then breakaway slams him over to the announce table. And that's how we get to our commercial break. We get back from the commercial break starting off with a hot tag. That man Dragon Lee jump over the apron. Do a Hurricane Rana on the JD into Rusev. Slams him right there, puts JD back into the ring, hit that man with a big German suplex down right there, and then hit him with a super kick. That lead him in the ropes trying to land a move on JD, but JD catch him, turn it into a Spanish fly, goes for a pin. 1, 2, stop by Javon. He get into that ring, stop the pin. Then he lands a red dot on the Rusev, and then that leads to him doing the dive on the Rusev on the outside. That leads to Dragon Lee trying to hit an elbow onto JD, but JD gets out the way, and at least a wrestling combination back and forth between JD and Lee, which leads to Lee in the rolling up JD. Ref is going for the pin. 1, 2, but JD stops himself, picks him up for a Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. Dragon Lee and Javon Evans get the dub. I'm gonna give it that match a 4-star. Them boys went back and forth. They went crazy with that. Can't wait to see them in that ladder match. They definitely gonna go dumb. But the thing is though, Rusev is a sore loser. He get in that ring. He whoop on Dragon Lee. He whoop on Javon. He hit the accolade on Dragon Lee. But you hear booyaka, booyaka, 619, hey! Rey Mysterio get in that ring. It looked like he about to hit the 619 on that boy Rusev. But Rusev say, clothesline. Knock that man down to the ground. Then at least the Penta coming out of there. He trying to do some things. He getting kicks and chops on a Rusev. He tried to hit the springboard Mexican Destroyer, but Rusev ain't going for that big kick on him. Then Javon Evans gets into the ring, tries to go for the OG cutter. That's getting stopped too. Catches him. Big slam by Rusev. Then he hit everybody in the ring with the Machka kick. Finishes off with a Machka kick on Dragon Lee, and then put him in that accolade. Then we get into our main event of the evening. We get Roman Reigns coming out, telling Sacramento to acknowledge him. He had that man CM Punk pop out, but not through the stage. He pop out Shield style, Uso style, walking down all the way to the ramp. He stands onto the announce table. He says, Roman, I saw your little video, that political smear campaign. And he says he actually came out to tell the truth. And he says he wants Roman to be jury, judge, and executioner, and to stop him anytime he lies. That leads to him walking his way to the ring. And Roman says, hey, if you get in this ring, we ain't gonna need no mic. So that leads to Punk just standing on the apron. That leads to Punk starts telling his truth. And his truth is that he hates Roman because he envies him. And that WWE, being a wrestler, was the only dream he ever had. And he envies how his dream was just handed over to Roman, and that he ended up having over 1,000-day reign as champion. And what even makes him more mad is that he knows that Roman did work his ass off to be this great. And he also hates the amount of times that he's main evented it. He envies that too. He says, like, at the end, like, he says, though, like, he hates how it makes him feel, though. He hates that he feels this way. Then he ends up mentioning Roman's dad again, Sika. But he mentions him in a good way this time. He says, that Sika was a great man and a great wrestler, and he hates how he even used his name in vain to try to piss off Roman. And he truly apologizes for that. Hates, and he also says he hates that he envies not being into uh, a dynasty family like the Samoan. He says he was a misfit who fought everywhere, Midwest, like California, like he mentioned Sacramento. He mentions how he was in Japan, England. He found his family in pro wrestling through the Indies, and he even says, that he even hates how the one-on-one match he gets at the main event WrestleMania, he has to share with Roman Reigns. And then Lisa Punk saying, I came here with gold on my shoes, gold on my waist, and at WrestleMania, it's going to be gold in my hands because I will retain. You're going to hear the announcer say, and still WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That leads to Roman saying, Punk, that's the most truest thing I ever heard you say. The last part. And he says, you know what, Punk, I'm going to tell you my truth as well. I do hate you. And I've hated you for a long time. And the main reason is because of his relationship with the WWE Universe. Because, when he quits, he wants the people to yell his name the same way they yell CM Punk's name. Like for it. He wants them to be yelling it for 10 years still, like they did with him. But he says, I gave you these 2 months of relevancy, and you wasted all of it. See, it's time. It's time for the nostalgia act to be over. Gonna beat him at WrestleMania, and him and everyone else will acknowledge him. And that is the end. I'm already interested in this match. I still don't know who's gonna win, because if Punk wins, he's a full-time guy. He's gonna be there. But if Roman wins, he's gonna be part-time. So it's like the person you obviously want to win is Punk, but Punk, it ain't gonna last long. We don't know how long it's gonna last, But that is going to be the end of this video. It's going to be the end of part 2. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. And also, if you enjoyed WWE 2K26 content, I have this on the channel as well. I just finished the CM Punk 2K26 showcase, and I'll be playing My Rise after WrestleMania. Also, I will be doing WrestleMania reviews. They're going to be less in-depth as I could do on the Raw reviews, because, it's a lot of wrestling. And I actually want to enjoy it myself, So I'm just going to do a little overall review over the matches and everything. And we will still be posting on Monday. So yes, we're going to have like 3 videos back to back days. Grind doesn't stop, man. I'm Twist. I'm out.